Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson, and I'm here to bring you our notes for Notes 4 in Unit 1, where we're talking about graphing lines in any form. So we've so far talked about slope-intercept form and point-slope form, and today we're going to learn the last form of an equation, which is called standard form. Standard form looks like this. AX plus BY is equal to C. And those are capital A, capital B, capital C. And the reason for that is because they are constants. They're representing constants that are being multiplied by the x and the y, and the c is over on the other side by itself. This is a form of an equation that has no slope or y-intercept. You cannot look at that a and assume that's the slope. That is only true when y is by itself, but y is not by itself here. Okay, so there's no slope or y-intercept in this form. Now, you're probably wondering, well, then why do we have a form like this if we don't see a slope or a y-intercept? Typically, when we're modeling situations, we're given two variables that we need to use to represent these two. So that's why we have a form called standard form. But now, if we wanted to graph the equations, we take standard form and turn them into slope-intercept in order to graph them. That's typically what we do there, okay? So this is standard form. So now this is our third form of an equation. Let's just do a few practice examples with this. In number 1, we have the equation 3x minus 2y plus 4 is equal to 9. And we want to write this in standard form. Now standard form looks like a times x plus b times y is equal to c. So we want all of the constants that have no variables to be on that right side of the equal sign. That means I need to move this 4 over. The x term and the y term can stay. Those are in the right spots. It's just the 4 that's wrong. So I need to move the 4 by subtracting it. So I have 3x minus 2y is equal to 9 minus 4, which is 5. That is my standard form. If I take a look at number 2, I now have negative 6x minus 5y minus 7. Again, the x term and the y term are fine. It's this negative 7 that needs to move. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides because I want that to go away. So negative 6x minus 5y is equal to that's a plus 7 there, 8 plus 7, which is 15. Now I have the x term, the y term together on one side, the constant alone on the other. That is the standard form of that equation. In number 3, all we're given here is 2 points. So we have kind of a lot of work to do to get into standard form. We're still working in standard form here, but now we're just given 2 points. The only thing I can do with 2 points is find the slope. So that has to come first. I'm going to find the slope, which is change in y over change in x. That's 1 minus 3 over 2 minus 1. Now don't be confused. That's this 1 minus that 3 over that 2 minus that 1. So be careful with that there. I end up getting negative 2 over 1, which is equal to negative 2. So that's my slope. So now I'm going to go to point slope form, because point slope form, I now have a slope and I have a point. It doesn't matter which point you pick. I'm just going to pick the second one. That would give me y minus 1, which is equal to negative 2 times x minus 2. Distributing that, I get y minus 1 is equal to negative 2x plus 4, and then I add the 1 to both sides, giving me y equals negative 2x plus 5. So I've gone from the slope, and then I used point slope form, then now I'm in slope intercept, but I still have one more thing to do to get to standard. So now for standard form, I'm going to take this x term and move it back over. So a lot of manipulation of this equation here. So I need to add 2x. So I have 2x plus y is equal to 5. That is my standard form. So this is a question where we went through all types of the equations. Okay, we started with finding the slope, then we went into point slope form, then we went into slope intercept form, then we ended in standard form, which was our goal to begin with. Let's try that just one more time with number 4. In number 4, I again am given 2 points, and the only thing I can do with 2 points is to find the slope. So I'm going to start with slope. I need the change in y, that's negative 5 minus 3, over the change in x, which is 0 minus negative 4. Be careful with that double negative there. So that is going to be negative 8 on the top over positive 4 on the bottom. Negative 8 divided by 4 gives me negative 2. So then the next thing I need to do is I need to go to point slope form. So I'm going to use a point and I'm going to use a slope. And I have y minus 3 is equal to negative 2 times x minus negative 4. Again, that we've got that double negative in place. I'm going to distribute this. This is plus a positive, so x plus 4. I have y minus 3 is equal to negative 2x, and then negative 2 times positive 4 is negative 8. And then add the 3 to both sides, and I get y is equal to negative 2x minus 5. Okay, now some of you may have noticed in the points that were given to us, we had this one over here, which gave us the y-intercept of negative 5. So some of you may have actually been able to skip this point slope form and just go straight down to slope intercept. So here was my slope, here was my point slope, here was my slope, oops, this one down here is my slope intercept. But again, I'm not finished yet. I need to go all the way to standard. So I'm going to go down and move this x term over to the other side. So this x term needs to be over here. That's add 2x, add 2x. I get 2x plus y is equal to negative 5. That is my standard form. So these questions went through all of the forms of an equation that we have learned. Okay, these are all the forms that we have learned, working cohesively together. Let's just take a look at numbers 5 and 6 at the bottom of this page. In number 5, it says, write the standard form for the given situation. Write a standard form equation for the given situation. You have $10 to buy carrots and tomatoes for a salad. Tomatoes cost $2 per pound. Carrots cost $1.25 per pound. So we want to just write an equation in standard form. Now I need to consider the two things that I have. I have carrots and I have tomatoes. I'm going to say that carrots is X and tomatoes is Y. So that means I need to figure out what's happening to the carrots. Well, carrots cost $1.25. So I have 1.25 times X. Then I also have the tomatoes, and what's happening to the tomatoes? Well, tomatoes cost $2 a pound. So that's plus $2 times Y. And those two things together have to equal $10. That's an equation that would model this situation. And it's in standard form because I have the x term and the y term together, and I have the constant over on the other side by itself. Let's take a look at number 6. In number 6, it says you're moving into a house. You can carry 56 pounds at one time. One box of books weighs 18 pounds, and a box of clothing weighs 10 pounds. So again, think of the two things that you're looking at. You're looking at a box of books, I'm going to call that X, and a box of clothing, I'm going to call that Y. So what's happening to the box of books? Well, each box of books is 18 pounds. So that's 18 pounds times X. Each box of clothing is 10 pounds. So to that, I'm adding plus 10Y. Now that's what you're carrying, however many boxes of books, however many boxes of clothing, but you can only carry 56 pounds. So together, those two need to equal 56 pounds. That's an equation in standard form. Again, the x and the y term are alone on one side, and the constant is alone, or the x and the y term are together on one side, the constant is alone on the other. I'm going to stop our video there at that point, and we'll come back and finish the backside together tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hop back to Schoology and take that quiz. Have a good night.